What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the 2000s podcast. Here we're going to talk about movies in 2001. My first podcast episode that I did for Back to the 2000s was movies in 2000. And honestly, I'm kind of debating like certain things. I have a ton of ideas for each year, but I figured maybe we'll just stick on the movie topic for right now. So I hope you'll kind of come along and enjoy the ride with me. We're going to break down movies that came out in 2001. For anybody that did watch the first episode and was wondering why it's been a while since there is another episode, I do a podcast with my cousin Theo called the OTS Project every week, and we do bonus podcasts and all this stuff. The past month has been kind of ridiculous with like doing our 4 podcasts every week, as well as we had the release of Fantastic Four and Superman that we had to do bonus podcasts for. So the last month has been kind of hectic, but in general though, this podcast is kind of like a side fun thing to do and to post about on the TikTok account Back to the 2000s. So this is not going to be a weekly podcast. This is primarily going to be maybe once a month, maybe once every like other week kind of podcast, if I can get the schedule right. So yeah, I just want to set that kind of straight. I don't want people thinking there's going to be a podcast every week, because it's just there's a lot going on. There's too much, and the OTS project obviously kind of takes like the priority because that's like our main thing. So if you're interested in like wrestling, Star Wars, Marvel, things like that, go check that out for sure. If you want to see more of me, that's where you'll see me primarily, is on that. And this is kind of just a fun little side project that I'm doing. But yeah, we're going to dive into movies in 2001. Another disclaimer though, I was born in 1998. So I was like very young here. So majority of like the stuff that I have here, any recollection of the stuff I have here is either something I watched as a kid after release or something as an adult that I've gone and watched, like Training Day. I watched that like a year ago. Not something I watched as a kid. So yeah, once we get more into like the mid 2000s, that's when I'll have more personal experiences with things that come out or things that I, took in during the time that it was released or produced, So yeah, movies in 2001. I have a whole list here of not every movie. I didn't put every movie. So there may be a big movie that I'm missing, but it's more so just my headspace of me not knowing about it. And that's why it's missing. So if there is any that's missing, throw it in the comments, and I will look into it. But from what I know, between movies I've seen or movies that I haven't seen, but I just know that are big movies, this is kind of the comprehensive list, as well as we're going to break down, like we did last episode, the top 5 grossing movies of 2001 and the bottom kind of grossing movies of 2001. So starting the list, though, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, Spirited Away, Donnie Darko, Monsters, Inc. Monsters, Inc. is the only one I've seen. Spirited Away is one I want to watch. Donnie Darko is another one I want to watch. And Lord of the Rings, I haven't seen any of them, but that's like on the watch list for sure. I definitely want to see all those. Shrek, that's another one. Like Monsters, Inc. and Shrek, those were 2 I didn't see, I don't think, in 2001 necessarily, but definitely watched them as a kid a lot. Harry Potter, Sorcerer's Stone, another one I watched as a kid. Recess, School's Out, that's another one I definitely watched as a kid. I don't remember too much of it, but I do remember watching it. A Knight's Tale, I actually got this movie for free through like Movies Anywhere or something like that, but I have yet to watch it. It's still in like my digital library, but it's just I don't think I ever ended up actually watching it. Wet Hot American Summer, Josie and the Pussycats, Vanilla Sky, Black Hawk Down, this is a movie I watched recently. Very good movie, very good movie. Training Day is one of my more recent watches in the past year that I love. I love this movie. I can't believe it took me so long to watch this movie because it is so good. Denzel Washington is one of my favorite actors. I feel like he's everybody's favorite actor, but it's just because he's like literally one of the best actors, and he's just great in this whole thing. I do wrestling managing sometimes with Elias AK-47 Roman. We are OTS Project. It's kind of where the OTS Project idea came from. And in the intro to our theme song is Denzel Washington talking from Training Day. So, yeah, definitely love the movie. Jeepers Creepers. Spy Kids, that's another childhood classic I grew up watching. Legally Blonde, I feel like I've seen one of these. I don't know if it's the first one or the second one, but my grandmother kind of dragged me to... my grandmother, one of my grandmothers is incredible. The other grandmother is not even really a grandmother anymore. We don't really claim her, unfortunately. Family trauma, you know what I'm saying? Basically, when I was a kid, though, she took us to go see some kids movie and then dragged us in to go see Legally Blonde 2. So I have seen, or Legally Blonde, it was one of them. I think it was 2, though. So I've seen one of them. I don't remember anything about it. But yeah, Ali with Will Smith, Rush Hour 2, Zoolander, American Pie 2, another classic. I kind of grew up watching those American Pie movies. Not Another Teen Movie I have seen. Ocean's 11, The Mummy Returns, Behind Enemy Lines, Joe Dirt, Super Troopers, Moulin Rouge. This is another recent watch. I think it was fun. It's not for everybody, and it's not like one of my favorites, but I do still enjoy it. Jurassic Park 3, that's another one that I believe I've seen and did not care for. Jurassic Park 2 and 3 I don't think are like, I don't like them, and I don't think people, like the fan base in general, I don't think likes those movies. Princess Diaries, grew up watching that. That's like childhood staple for sure. Along with Shrek and Monsters Inc. Me and my sister watched that all the time, as well as Princess Diaries 2. Tomb Raider, Halloween Town 2, another one I've seen multiple times. Again, see, these are the majority of my collection here of what I know is going to be the kind of Disney-esque movies because I was such a little kid. My sister was like a year old, so I was probably like 3 or something like that. Motocross, another one I've definitely seen. Not like a staple in my childhood, but I've definitely seen it. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Those are more movies. I love Kevin Smith, but I don't think I've really seen too many of his movies, so I definitely want to do like a Kevin Smith kind of like watch and just like dive into his like kind of filmography. The Fast and the Furious, I have seen. Not as good as the first one. This is, to me, is probably one of the weaker ones in the whole franchise. But yeah, Xenon, the sequel, that's another one I have seen. Serendipity is another recent watch. I love this movie. I thought it was such a great movie. I watched this like kind of a year ago. It just gave me, honestly, anybody, obviously you guys are watching this because it's a, 2000s nostalgia like podcast. This is a movie to me that kind of has a lot of that 2000s vibe to it, especially like 2000s Christmas. I know that's what a lot of people love. I love when, for me, Christmas felt magical when I was a kid and in the 2000s. This whole movie doesn't take place during Christmas. The beginning of it, it's like a year long, so the beginning of it takes place during Christmas time, and the end of it kind of ends at Christmas time a year later. So the whole beginning of this movie, the whole like first like 5, 10, maybe even 15 minutes, is your two main characters shopping in New York during Christmas time, trying to like find last minute Christmas gifts. And again, it's in the 2000s. Amazon wasn't like a huge thing, so like very crowded stores, very the colors and the lights are there. It just has very fun, fuzzy, nostalgic, like 2000s Christmas vibes. So anybody that wants to feel that, definitely go check out at least the first 15 minutes of this movie because it definitely feels very Christmassy, very 2000s Christmassy for sure. But in general, I do really enjoy this movie. It's a fun movie. Jason X, I have not seen. I'm not a big horror person, but I know about because this is like when they totally just went off the rails and he's like on a spaceship in space. So I'm sure there's like, I'm sure there's a portion of the fan base that does love this movie, but I know that primarily the fan base of like those movies does not like this movie because it's so different than what these original movies were. But I think it's a kind of a hilarious idea if we take Jason and put him in space. Kate and Leopold, 'Twas the Night. I've definitely seen. Scooby-Doo Cyber Chase, I've seen multiple times as a kid. That was a fun movie. Luck of the Irish, another one I've seen. A DCOM. Max Keeble's Big Move, I've seen. Dr. Dolittle 2, I have seen. I don't remember too much of it, but I know I've seen it. Jimmy Neutron's movie, that is one that I've seen a lot. Me and my sister used to watch that a lot. Scary Movie 2, I've definitely seen. The Wedding Planner, I've kind of seen. Like, I didn't watch it in full, but it's one of those, like, I watched part of it when it was, like, on TV. And Pearl Harbor, which I have seen and kind of traumatized me as a kid. I've only seen it once. We went over to a friend's house and they were, like, in the midst of watching it. But it was, like, not in the midst of it. I think they had just starting watching it because, like, I don't remember where it's paced, but, like, it's before the attack happened because I remember sitting down on the couch and watching it with, like, the rest of, my parents' friends and stuff like that and seeing that happen and seeing how horrific it was, and it traumatized me as, like, a 6-year-old kid when I finally watched it. So, have not seen it since. But that's kind of all the movies that at least stood out to me. Again, either I've seen or I just know are like big movies that came out in 2001. Again, if there's anything I missed that was like a huge blockbuster movie or that maybe just got left off the list that I was looking at on Letterboxd, please put it in the comments so I can kind of look at it and know. But box office successes. This is like going to be the top 5 movies of 2001. So number 1 is going to be Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone. That movie made $974 million, and they had a budget of $125 million. So, like, That's pretty insane. Fellowship of the Ring made 883 million. This is also insane. Their budget was 93 million, so kind of similar to Harry Potter. Their Monsters Inc. had $528 million box office, and the budget was $115 million. Shrek with a $487 million box office, and they had a $60 million budget, so that's also very well. And Ocean's 11 in at number 5, $450 million made, and their budget was $85 million. Box office flops. 15 Minutes had $56 million at the box office with a budget of $60 million. That's horrible. 3,000 Miles to Graceland made $18 million with a budget of $62 million. That is insane. Same Ali, $87 million made with a budget of $107 million. American Outlaws, $13 million, and their budget was $35 million. And Angel Eyes at number 5 with $29 million made, and the budget was $53 million. So that's the bottom 5 of 2001. Overall, very good year for movies in my opinion. Like, there's a lot of movies that came out this year that were pretty big. Again, most of my kind of recollection of them is a lot of the kind of children's movies because I was a child, such a young child. But movies like movies like Black Hawk Down, Training Day, American Pie 2, those are movies I have seen also. It seems like in general there was a lot of big movies that came out in the year 2001. So yeah, I don't have too much more to add. If there's anything else you guys want, put in the comments and we'll talk about it. But in general, it seemed like a pretty good year for movies. If you have any memories or recollection of movies in 2001, let me know. I'd love to hear your stories and your feelings towards the nostalgia of the movies that came out in 2001 for sure. And yeah, with that, I will see y'all next time for the next episode. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet. I kind of go as I go. I just kind of figure it out when I know I have to record another episode. But yeah, I will see y'all next time.